everyone, I'm Ashley with Going Crochet. This is Tracker, my Boston Terrier pup. And this is Fred in the background, and I also have George on the windowsill, but you can't see him. Today I'm going to do a special episode of Getting to Know Me. I just recently hit 500 subscribers, and I put a little thing out there asking people to give me some questions of anything they want to know about me. And today I'm going to be answering those questions and just giving you some more information about who I am. And I just kind of sprang up on YouTube like 3-4 months ago, and so I am all new to you all. I'm sure if you've been watching along, you've seen bits and pieces of me, but I've never done a full-on true interview style type of episode where you could just honestly really learn who I am. And with that, let's get started. So first and foremost, you're not gonna see me primed up like this any other time other than every 8 weeks. So I'm a very low maintenance girly, and I just got my hair done today. So I thought this was the perfect day to do this episode, because I was like, well, you know what? No time like the present. I'm looking good with my new hair, and so I figured I would film today. But here we go. My name is Ashley. I live in Maine. I have a husband who is a merchant marine, so that means he ships out for months at a time, which gives me lots of time to myself to do a whole bunch of nothing, and that is how I got interested in crocheting. I also have a son who is going on 8 in a couple weeks, and when he's in school, I do all kinds of chores and everything, but I'm a stay-at-home mom, and so I have some free time on my hands to just do things. And so I first picked up crochet about 16 plus years ago. I don't know the exact amount of time I've been crocheting. I'd say 16 to 20 years I've been crocheting. And so the first question I had was, how did you learn to crochet? Well, simple. I was bored. My husband had started shipping out, because this is before we were married. We met in college, and I knew from the beginning he was a junior in college. I knew he was going to be shipping out, and so I decided, well, okay, that's just going to be our lifestyle. And then he got his first job, and so his every weekend visits turned into gone for a 3-month rotation. And so I asked my mom, because I knew she crocheted. She didn't crochet all the time. She didn't really crochet too much in front of me, but I knew she knew how to crochet. So one day I just asked her, I said, can you teach me how to crochet? I'm bored. I need something to do to keep me busy, give me a hobby when John is gone. And so she sat down with me one afternoon, and she taught me how to slip knot, chain, and I think maybe like a half double crochet or a single crochet, I don't even remember. And I started making a scarf, and I never stopped since. And I just picked it up. It was like natural to me. It was easy for me to get, because I am kind of person that if it doesn't come quickly, I don't want to do it, because it means it's too much work to like learn how to do something if it's not easy for me. So I picked it up quite quickly, and then the master became the student. So my mom and now asks me for advice on how to make things, and I think that's just so funny. Oh, by the way, I grabbed myself a project to do while I talk to you, so that this can be like a relax and hang out and get to know me episode. So here we go. Question number 2. How long have you been crocheting? I think I already kind of briefed upon that, between 16 and 20 years. I don't know exactly how long, but I only started doing amigurumi about Well, I did amigurumi off and on since my son was 1. I made my first amigurumi for his first birthday, and it was a little tractor, and it was not pretty at all, but I made it for him and I was proud of it at the time. I still have it. It's in my basement. He never really picked it up and really loved it, so I just kind of took it back because it was just collecting dust in his closet. So I still have that, but yeah, I started crocheting with scarves and blankets. I probably have 20 blankets in this house alone of items that I've crocheted in years past. And then once my son got a little bit older, he's now almost 8, around age 4, 5, he started to ask me to crochet more for him because he realized that I had this skill and I could make him stuffies. And so once he discovered that I knew how to create plushies or stuffies, as he calls them, he started asking me to make more and more. So that's when I really started to work on them more. And then I only used acrylic yarn before that. So just the 4-ply acrylic yarn. And just about a year ago, did I decide I wanted to try to make something in plushie yarn. And that just changed things because it's so much quicker to make things out of the plushie yarn. You can make so many more plushies out of them, and they come out so cute. And so that's when things really started to take off more for me, and I started becoming more creative with my items because I had always just kind of done it for a hobby, and then once a year I would do a local craft fair and just sell whatever I had made throughout the year, which wasn't really all that much. It was mostly hats at the time, and just anything that I made that I thought would be fun. Next question. What is your favorite yarn and color? All right. Now, you might be surprised by this, but my personal favorite yarn to use is Premier Parfait Chunky. Although it might not be a surprise to you because I do use it in all my 1-hour videos of how many can I make in 1 hour. But it's Premier Parfait Chunky. I'm actually making some positive pickles today. And so this is my ultimate favorite when it works. It does have a tendency to fray or to shed, and that kind of drives me nuts, but it's part of just that cycle of life, I guess you could say, and I just deal with it. But I really want to like Bernat blanket, but it hurts my hands. I can only use Bernat blanket for a day, and then I have to give it a break because my hands just get so sore. So the Premier Parfait Chunky slides nicely, glides on my hook, and I don't have to worry about pain the next day with it. And I also do like Sweet Snuggles Light. I know it's either a love or hate relationship with Sweet Snuggles just because of the shedding. It sheds so much. But once again, it doesn't hurt my hands to use like the Bernat blanket does. So if I want a larger plushie, like a Bernat blanket size plushie, I will use the Sweet Snuggles Light instead of the Premier Parfait Chunky, just because the Parfait Chunky does come out in smaller projects and it's more expensive. Okay, favorite color? You got it. These are my favorite colors. I love the blues and teals, and the favorite color within the yarn itself is probably, just the blues, the teals. I love the key lime in Parfait Chunky. It's like a bright greenish color, and I love I believe it's called Peacock because it's more of a tealy color like this. Favorite hook. If you guys have seen me doing my 1 hour makes. How many can I make in 1 hour? I bet you already know the answer to this question. It is Ophire Co hooks. I am obsessed with these. Now, they are resin, so they can break. And I just recently had my first tragedy, and my Ophire Co hook fell on the floor, and unfortunately, it broke. So let's take a moment of silence for my 4.5 millimeter Ophire Co hook. All right, that's enough silence. Anyway, yes, I have some more coming in the mail. I am just waiting for them to ship to me. I bought 2 of the 4.5 millimeters because those are my favorite size, and I'm waiting for them to come in the mail. So you should see an unboxing of that very shortly. But Ophire Co hooks are the best, I believe, and my favorite sizes are 4, 4.5, and 5 millimeter hooks. Apparently I have a loose tension, which I did not know I had when I was in the realm of wearables like hats and blankets and shawls and all of that. But once I got into the amigurumi world, I realized that my tension is a lot looser than many people's tension. And so I have to use smaller hooks so that my plushies don't get like big gnarly holes through them. All right, next question, favorite crochet book? You know, honestly, I don't have a specific favorite book. I do have some crochet books that have patterns in them. I would say, I'm looking at one across the room right now. It's called Aquatic Amigurumi, and I get some of my patterns through there. And I also do the I believe Unicorns and Dragons books. I'll put a little image up here so you guys can see what those look like. I just got them off of Amazon. I think I got them for like Christmas. I put them on my wish list and got them for Christmas. Favorite pattern designer? There are so many pattern designers right now. I really love Melly Inspired Crochet's Samba. That's one of my favorites. And I also got to test for her her Colin pattern, her little Colin the koala, and those are really great, and I'm really excited for her new minis to come out. I also like Red Mills Crochet's Winnie the Dragon. I'm also making one of her other dragons right now, and I do enjoy her patterns. I have like multiple of her dragons. There's so many. I haven't even been able to scrape the surface of pattern makers, but I'll have to circle around to that question when I've gotten some more pattern makers underneath my wings and worked out some patterns. Let's see. What is a bucket list pattern? Honestly, a bucket list pattern for me, you've probably seen these going around like crazy lately, it's been on my wish list since I've seen it release. It's the octopus from Humble Crochet, I believe. I want to make one of those so badly, and people continually send me giant octopus on like the back of their couches and stuff and say, you need to make one of these. Like, they send me the images, and I really do want to make one of those. I just haven't yet, and I'm just kind of sitting on it right now because the pattern is relatively expensive, and I know that I have so many patterns in my queue that I need to make already that I know that one's going to take me a long time. So I'm just kind of waiting it out to see if I make it or not. So maybe that'll be like a Christmas gift from my husband or my mom, that they can buy me that pattern and I can make it then. Who is your favorite YouTuber? Oh, This is a tough question, and there are so many. I honestly can't tell. I'm friends with some of these YouTubers, so I cannot name a name for that because there are so many YouTubers out there. But yeah, I'm not even gonna answer that. Nope, not gonna do it. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, and I don't want to single anyone out because there are so many. But of course, they're all within the crochet community is what I watch on YouTube. So all of the crochet YouTubers, I love them all. I'm not gonna single out a person. Hi, buddy. So Tracky needs some attention, so I'll pet him for a second while I continue going. He is a very loving, needy dog. He sits here and just stares at me and makes me pet him when I'm crocheting. So I'll be crocheting along, and then he like forces me to take breaks. He's like, Mom, it's a crochet break. You need to rest your hands and pet me instead. All right, what drove me to do markets? Well, I've been doing markets for years, but before this current year, this past 12 months of my life, I only did about one market a year, and that was in my local town, and it's literally like a 3-minute drive from my house of where they do it every year. And the reason I started doing the markets was because I had a bunch of stuff sitting around my house that I had crocheted, and I just needed to kind of offload it, and that's what started me in markets. Now, within the past year, I started doing markets. I had a friend who runs a market at our local fair every year. She asks me to put some of my stuff in her market, and I hadn't been prepping for markets. I had just been having fun making stuff and making amigurumi, and she said, you really need to put some of your stuff in my market that I have. You can put it at my table. You don't even have to be there. You can just put it and I'll sell it for you. And I decided that, okay, I could do that. And then I also decided that I was just gonna go hang out with her because I didn't want her just to sell my stuff for me, and I wanted to hang out with her. I realized I had a lot of fun. I had so many people were interested, came up and had conversations with me, were saying how they loved my work, how great it was, and it kind of gave me a little confidence boost. And so then I started doing more and more markets. They had a local town had a market for free outside. It was during an August Fest days. And so I decided I was gonna just put my stuff out there on that day because I had some stuff. I needed just to, offload some of my items. And once again, I had so many people come and talk to me, and I just loved the interaction with all the other people. And so that is truly what drives me to do them in the first place, is how people are so responsive, how they're just so sweet, and I love seeing reactions of the children and adults. And I swear, majority of the people who buy from me are probably young adults who just love the items and will come and just check in, and they know me now because I've been to a few, and they'll just come to my booth and say, what's new? What do you have that's new? What's different that you had from last time? And so they're like repeat customers. I've grown a community of people, just the other vendors that I get to hang out with, and I've become friends with. And it's so exciting when you walk into an event and you're next to a friend of yours that you made from the last market you were at, and you get to just socialize. And it's really just been based off of building that community of people, and getting out of my house and getting to see other people, and just it's it's a rush. I feel like I've started to want to do more and more markets because it gives me a confidence boost. It gives me a rush of adrenaline. It gives me a base of community and friends. All right. How far are you willing to travel for a market? That's a great question. And honestly, where I live, I'm gonna be traveling, other than that one that's 3 minutes down the road, I'm going to be traveling at least half an hour to every market, and that's about average for what I usually have to do. But I would definitely go further than that. There is a big city, about 2.5 hours away from me, and I would definitely venture out to go there if it was a marketed event that I knew I could do well at. I actually tried to do it last year from 2.5 hours away. It was a Halloween event and I really wanted to be at it, but I didn't get selected, and they already had a couple crocheters, and it was a juried event, which made me happy to know that they do exist around here, because I don't know, there's a lot of repeat vendors at these events, so sometimes it can be tough with just multiple crocheters, and I don't want to, disturb anyone, and I want us all to be successful, so that if I know there's more than 2 other crocheters at a local event, I won't sign up for it, because I feel like that takes away from them and what they can sell, and it takes away from me as well. And so I try to do events that are kind of limited on the amount that they accept in. But yes, I would definitely travel about 2.5 hours away, maybe longer if there was something that was really enticing to me. How did you start markets with your mom? Well, honestly, my mom does items, and she tried out coming to the markets with me, but she didn't really enjoy doing them as much as I do. So I mostly just kind of take her items and bring them with me because I want to support my mom. I think her work is amazing, and I want to give her a confidence boost that I get from doing these markets. So that is why I have her items in my booth. Just because I love her stuff, and I think it needs to be seen, it needs to be out there, and I love her. You mentioned you are introverted. How does that work at markets? So yes, I am a very introverted person. If you saw me at a party somewhere and I didn't know you or many other people, I would be a wallflower. I would just be that person that sits against the wall by themselves, super awkward. But when it comes to markets, I feel like I can be myself. I'm in my element, so it makes me more like what you see right here. I'm comfortable because I know what I'm doing. I used to be a fitness instructor, and it's so funny because I would lead a class of 30 plus people in the room, and I would be bubbly and out there and just having a blast, making a fool of myself basically. And I never even questioned what I was doing because I was in my element. I was comfortable with my what I was doing in it. It's the same with my crochet. It's my thing. I love it so much that I don't even notice an uncomfortable feeling. But if you if you came up to me and were asking me questions about like anything else, I would probably clam up and not know how to talk to you, because it would make me nervous. I guess it's just because I feel comfortable with what it is. I am talking about my craft to people. They're asking me questions about that craft. I guess because they're coming to me and I don't have to go to them, it makes it doable, because otherwise, if I thought I had to go interact with other people, I tend to be worried that I'm putting someone out and I'm bothering them, and so that's why I don't put myself out there much. All right. Do you feel drained after talking to people all day? Yes. So I think that's probably one, because I am an introverted person and I am putting myself out there so much throughout the day. It takes a lot of energy out of me. But at the same time, I also think it's partly because it's just a lot of work to do a market. I think people that don't do markets don't realize how much effort you have to put into these events. The setup, the preparation before it, just sitting there all day long, hoping that you're gonna sell at least a couple things to cover your table, and then going home after a long day and putting everything away, and it's very draining. But I do really enjoy talking to the people. I do enjoy the interaction I get from it. What is your favorite customer experience? Let's see. Recently, something that happened was I got to see a professor from when I was in college. She came to my booth and I said, "Oh, hey, are you still teaching?" Because I knew she wasn't going to know who I was. The last time I was in college was in like 2007, 2008. The last time I ever took a course from her, and I haven't seen her since. And so she was surprised that I knew who she was, and we got on the conversation of, oh yeah, like, yeah, I'm still teaching this and that. And then she told me she also crocheted, and so we, exchanged information, and she bought my roadkill possum from me. And then every time I see her at another market, she comes over and says hi, and she shares her crochet items with me on Facebook Messenger. And so it was nice to kind of reconnect with a professor that I haven't seen for years. And so I thought that was really cool. Also, just, interactions with the kids are always great. I love the excitement I see on kids' faces, and then when their parents say, yeah, you can get that. I know there's events that I go to where the kids are there with their parents who are also vendors at the markets, and so they keep coming back to my booth. And there was a Christmas show that was completely dead, which is surprising because it was during Christmas, like right before Christmas, but it was completely dead. And these kids had bought some leggy frogs from me, a brother and a sister, and so they kept coming back to my booth and looking at my stuff and talking to me, and they felt comfortable around me, probably because I was like the plushie woman who just made all the plushies, and so that made them think I was like, a cool person that they could trust. But they just kept coming back and they would be like, I named my plushie this and I named my plushie that. And since it was so quiet, I was like, oh, you want to see what these plushies can do? And so I was showing them all the different things that how you could play with these plushies. And so we were like playing hacky sack with the plushies and everything like that. So that was fun. That was a good interaction. Yeah, so just anything where I get to like be, you know, social with the kids. Oh, another one that was fun was at the local event. There was a girl who was in like 4th or 5th grade at school, and she came over and she just loved my stuff. So she came over with a family member, and she ended up buying a couple of the smaller items, and she said, I know how to crochet too. And I said, oh, that is so awesome. And you know, we had a little conversation about that. And the person she was with was also vending at the show. And so she came back over and she came into my booth and she sat down and she said, is it okay if I crochet with you? And I said, of course it's okay if you crochet with me. And so she sat down next to me, and she pulled out all of her items that she had brought, and she was showing me all the things and telling me all the things that she's made. And she just sat there and started crocheting, and she didn't talk much the whole time. She just crocheted along next to me. And I gave her some tips on how to make a scrunchie because she wanted to learn how to make a scrunchie. And she just kind of hung out with me for a couple hours. Come to find out later, she's a very quiet, shy girl who doesn't like really talk to random people very much, but she felt like she could trust me, and she came over and just sat with me, and we had a good old time just sitting there crocheting. So that was a really special experience, I think, that she could trust me enough to want to come and sit with me and just crochet together. Moving on, future market plans. So I have a bunch of markets set up, lined up. I always have the local one. I do it every single year. So that one is just a given. And then I have another one, the neighboring town over, that I do, well, this will be my 3rd year in a row that I'm going to do that one. This is what I have to live with all the time. My goodness. Jackie, no more. So anyway, I have those ones that are like, Jackie, no, lined up all the time. But I do plan to, at the beginning of this year, my goal was to get 12 markets in the year. If I'm gonna do it or not, I'm not quite sure yet, but I have some stuff lined up. I believe one a month for the next, until November or December. How far in advance do you book shows, and how close together do you set them? So that's a great question, and the answer to that is I try to, obviously, like my annual one, I have that's just a given. I don't even have to like really think about that one. I just automatically sign up for that one when it is open. She knows I'm gonna be there, so I could just like show up that day and she would know I was going to be there. I basically don't even have to sign up for it. I'm there every year. But other ones tend to fill up quickly in my area, so I have to book them once I find out they're released. I have to book them as soon as possible because there's a waiting list and some events that I want to go to, like the bigger, better ones that I want to go to that I still can't get into, and I've been on like a waiting list for 2 years. So I book them as far in advance as possible. I have one booked for July. I booked that in probably September. I have one booked for August. That one I signed up for in March. So whenever I see an availability and I feel like it's going to be a good one, a busy one, well advertised one to go into, I sign up for it as soon as possible if I know I have that date available. And then how close do I sign up for them? I try to sign up for them, or I try to space them out at least a couple weeks apart from each other. It's not always going to happen. Like this month, I have one on the 15th, and then I was asked to participate in one on the 22nd, and I agreed to participate in that one because it was for a fundraiser for a local library. They're trying to raise money for their library, and I felt like it's not necessarily going to be it's more of like a garage sale, but she wanted me to put my plushies in it. And so I agreed to do that because I felt like it wasn't going to be something that I'm going to be like crazy busy at. So I did agree to do that, but I try to do at least 2 weeks apart, if not a month, once a month, because I think once a month goal is pretty doable because you have about 3 weeks between markets before you have to worry about the next one. So that gives you enough time to prep. Now last year, Christmas markets, I had 2 back-to-back, and I wasn't prepping like I've been prepping this year. I barely had like inventory, but I agreed to do both of them because, you know, I wanted to be there. And so that was very stressful, and I do not advise that on anyone to book that close together, especially at a busier market as a Christmas market, because there's going to be a lot more people at them and there's going to be a lot more purchases at them than you're going to see in like a springtime market like now, where people don't buy as easily. But during the Christmas months, they're definitely there to be buying rather than just browsing. And so I will be back in a few minutes because I have to go pick up my son at school. So I will be back on in just a moment. Okay, I am back, and my final question I was asked is, when do you start offering your seasonal items? And so typically, like for Christmas items and everything, I will start offering them late September, early November, when those markets are hitting and it's getting closer and closer to Christmas. So like Christmas trees, it's okay, you can cough. So like, you know, if you have Christmas trees or snowmen or something like that, you can offer those a month to 2 months ahead of time. I do pumpkins, and so the pumpkins I'll usually start putting out in like August-ish, when it's, you know, it's still summertime, but people are starting to think about harvest and pumpkin season, and so that's a good time. And I also will start adding my Halloween items or, you know, spooky season things around August for the September, October months. So generally about 2 months ahead of schedule. In other seasonal items, like if you have ice cream, Octos, I have some of those and things like that. I started offering them in April, and I'll offer those up until into August, and then I'll probably just kind of phase those out because it'll be more of interest in pumpkins and Halloween items and stuff like that. So those were all the questions I was asked, and if you guys have more questions, make sure to pop them in the comments below, and I can do another video of any type of question you have for me. But thank you all for watching, and thank you all for subscribing. It's been a wonderful journey. Never did I think I would have 500 plus subscribers on YouTube. I never in a million years would have even thought I would be hosting a YouTube channel, let alone have 500 subscribers. And when I first started this YouTube channel and I had like 7 subscribers on my channel, I was ecstatic because I was like, people are actually watching me. And I I think it's crazy, wild, crazy world that we live in, that we can all connect through the internet. And I've met so many awesome crocheters through Instagram and YouTube, and I've made friends with all of these people. I just think that is so awesome and fun. And I did get one of these little corner bookmarks made during this video, and I just wanted to do a little shout out to the person who I got this idea from. Oh, my son wants it. So I got this little bookmark from that bookmark idea from Cat Cake Crochet here on YouTube, and that is Quinn. And I watched one of her videos where she was doing Mother's Day gifts that you could create, and my son is dancing behind me trying to make me laugh. But she was doing a Mother's Day gift idea, and that was one of the patterns, and so I saved it. I looked it up the other day. I wrote down the pattern. It's a YouTube video, so I wrote it down. And now I have a new idea of what to make at my markets, and I love them. So thank you guys for watching. Go ahead and put down a, buddy, what should I have them put down in the emojis? A what?
Penguin.
A penguin. So Owen says to put a penguin down in the emojis. If you got all the way through this video, I don't know if they have a penguin, you can just put a bird. And go ahead, like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was somewhat crochet related, but thank you all for joining in, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.